Hey folks, a very warm greeting of the day and welcome to the next video. There are 6 types of writing that are prescribed for your syllabus. Descriptive writing, narrative writing, reflective writing, argumentative writing, comparative writing, cause and effect writing. In today's video, we will be looking into the introduction of writing, what is writing, how to write, and the first type of writing, that is descriptive writing. Let's get started. Now, before we dive into the topic of descriptive writing, let us know what writing is all about. Writing is the process of using symbols. When I say symbols, letters of the alphabet, punctuation and spaces to communicate thoughts and ideas in a readable form. Writing is the process of transforming one's ideas, concepts or information into graphic symbols of a language by using correct words and sentences and patterns. Now, why do we need to write is the next question that we carry. Why do we need to write? So, what's the use of writing? Okay. So, there are 4 major reasons. Number 1 is to inform. Number 2 is to describe. Number 3 is to recount an experience. And number 4 is to persuade others. Now, if you look into any type of writing, it can be for these 4 reasons. Number 1 is to inform. You're informing someone about something. Any newspaper article that you read, it's everything about informing someone about something. Imagine you text someone to inform. Imagine you email someone to inform. Any type of writing, it can be with an objective to inform. Number 2 is to describe an emotion. Describe a feeling. Okay, describe something. Number 3 is to recount an experience, anything that has happened in the past, the biographies, the autobiographies, the narrative writings, the stories, the real life experiences, the accidents, the incidents that are reported in the newspaper. Everything is with an objective to recount an experience. And the last one is to persuade others. Any advertisements that you see, anything that you see on billboards here and there, everything is with an intention to persuade others, which means to influence others to take some action, maybe to buy a product, to buy a service, or anything of that sort. Now, when we say writing, there are 2 steps of writing, pre-writing and the actual writing process. So when we say writing, it doesn't actually begin the moment you hold a pen and a paper, it begins far behind it. In the pre-writing step, number 1, we need to brainstorm ourselves. Whenever a question is given to you, you need to generate ideas by discussing in groups. Now, when it comes to examinations, you definitely cannot sit in the examination hall and discuss with your friends. Okay, so this is the actual writing process that I'm talking about. And then we need to expand the ideas by making notes. You have got something in your mind, you have got some ideas, you all have generated some ideas. Next, you need to start making notes. When I say notes, some abstract pointers, whatever comes to your mind. You're not writing it in detail in a precise format. You're simply penning down whatever thoughts come into your mind. And then comes the planning process where we organize the ideas into a diagram. Let's keep the diagram part apart. Okay. Basically, we are organizing the ideas that have come in your mind. What will come first? What will come next? How are we going to present it into the audience, etc. Then comes the actual process of writing. Number 1, we need to draft. Okay, write a first draft, turn the ideas into sentences and link them. After you're finished writing, you need to give it for a proofreading process. Okay, what is proofreading? Basically, you're giving it to someone else so that they can check the content, the grammar, vocabulary, and let us know if there are any corrections. And once you have done the proofreading, and if you have found any mistakes, you need to redraft it, which means you need to rewrite the text, making the necessary changes. Now we come to the actual part of your syllabus if you're just here for the sake of it. Okay, descriptive writing. Before I give you a definition of descriptive writing, let me tell you what descriptive writing is all about. Imagine I had to tell you, wo khoobsurat hai. He or she is beautiful. This is a simple one-liner statement. Instead of this, if I say, तेरी आंखों की नमकीन मस्तियाँ, तेरी हंसी की बेपरवाह गुस्ताखियाँ, तेरी जुल्फों की लहराती अंगड़ाइयाँ, नहीं बोलूंगा मैं जब तक है जाए, जब तक है जाए, जब तक है जाए। ये चांद सा रोशन चेहरा, जुल्फों का रंग सुनहरा, ये झील सी नीली आंखें, कोई राज है इनमें गहरा। Basically, this is descriptive writing where you describe something in detail with precision, keeping every single thing, every little pointer in mind. Okay. So, descriptive writing's main purpose is to describe. It is a style of writing that focuses on describing a character, an event, or a place in great detail. It is often poetic in nature. It helps the reader to visualize in detail a character, event, place, or all of these things at once. The primary purpose of descriptive writing is to describe a person, place, or thing in such a way that a picture is formed in the reader's mind. Now imagine if you're a reader, if you look into the character description of any specific character that comes in any novel or drama, you need to look how they describe it. It's a simple basic character with two legs, two hands, and a face. But the way they describe it creates an impression in our mind. Now, here are some basic examples of descriptive writing in different contexts. These are just a few lines. Please remember, students, this question can be asked for 10 marks. So it cannot be so short. The description has to go on at least for one page. Okay. And here are some brainstorming examples of how to describe something. Let's begin with natural beauty. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the tranquil lake. The water mirrored the vibrant shades of the sky, while a gentle breeze whispered through the rustling leaves of the ancient oaks that lined the shore. Character description. Let's take Sarah as a character. Sarah had striking emerald eyes that sparkled with an almost mischievous charm. Her auburn hair, which means brownish color hair, her auburn hair cascaded down her back in graceful waves, catching the afternoon sunlight as if it were spun from copper threads. Aha. Setting in a fantasy novel. Now, what is setting? Not the setting that you do in your life. Maga, setting. No, not that setting. Setting means the description of a place where the story is taking place. Okay. So, setting in a fantasy novel. The ancient castle stood atop a mist-covered mountain, its turrets and spires seeming to touch the heavens. The moonlight bathed the castle in an otherworldly glow, and the air was heavy with the scent of enchantment. Food description. The freshly baked bread emerged from the oven. It's a crust. The freshly baked bread emerged from the oven. Its crust a deep golden brown that crackled when touched. The scent of warm yeasty dough filled the kitchen, and the pat of butter melted slowly on the still warm slice. Now, did you observe something, students? Whenever we describe something, we need to know how to describe it. Here are some important pointers that you need to keep in mind when you engage in descriptive writing, which will really help you to enhance your writing style. First and foremost, the actual descriptive writing should be clubbed into 3 paragraphs: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Try to involve all 5 senses when describing something. What do you see? What can you hear? What can you smell? What do you taste? How does something feel? The touch. Add as many such details as necessary to convey a full picture to the reader. I had just given you some examples where I tried to use all the 5 senses, and when we use the different senses, we have a lot more content to write. And you need to keep in mind one important thing, students. Descriptive writing and narrative writing quite go hand in hand, but there is a huge difference. In case of narrative writing, you're narrating a story. It needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But when it comes to descriptive writing, it is basically one simple incident. Imagine you're sitting on a table. You have to describe just that aspect when you're sitting on a table. Okay, so you cannot narrate a story. I woke up, I brushed, I bathed, and then I wore clothes, and then I came and sat on the table. No, you cannot do that. You have to just describe that one incident of example, sitting in a table. Here is a quick, beautiful example of vivid description which is mentioned in your workbook. Let me read it out for you. And keep in mind how the writer uses different senses, how he uses figurative language, and all the things that we have mentioned priorly. As I sat at my table, I shivered. It was late. The moon had long since slipped below the indistinct horizon, black, melting into indigo, into charcoal. There must have been clouds in the sky. The stars refused to twinkle and sparkle. Cicadas insistently droned, lulling me into a trance. The wind blew cold, redolent of wet earth and green growing things. It caressed my ankles, nipped across my nose, and chilled my tapping fingers. I had work to do. No time to sit and sway to the clacking fan and shrilling cicadas. No time to play with the zephyr that enticed me into the rainy night. No time to be distracted by the fragrance of coffee wafting from some other night owl's lighted square. Work, I must work. Now if you look into this simple paragraph, it is nothing but the things that happen between two sentences. As I sat at my table, I must work. Now look at how vividly, how dynamically, and how profoundly it is described. Just one incident of sitting at a table. Now here is one elaborate example of one of the questions that is prescribed for your syllabus. Describe an evening on the beach. Okay. So in the next slide, I'll be displaying the actual description, which is quite long. You can pause for a while, use it as your notes, and more importantly, read it. The worst part with this modern generation, with the younger generation, I include myself amidst you, is that with the advent of social media, with the advent of chat GPT and information rich resources, we have forgotten the habit of writing. We use one-liner captions, one-liner hashtags, and shortcuts. Now we never say good morning, we simply say GM. We don't say good night or sweet dreams or take care. We say GN, ST, TC. Our vocabulary is shrinking to the core. Okay, and this is the reason why we cannot elaborately write something. So if you're directly going on and sitting in your examination to practice this, then it is going to be a little difficult, because reading voraciously is very important to have good vocabulary. And only when we have good vocabulary, when we can describe one simple thing with different verbs, with different synonyms, only then we can describe something very beautifully. So engage in the habit of reading, engage in the practice of writing, because only practice can make us better descriptive writers. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope that was helpful. In this video, we have discussed about descriptive writing, how to write a descriptive writing, and I have also given you some short examples along with elaborate examples of writing a descriptive writing. In the next video, we will be discussing about narrative writing, so stay tuned. Until next time, keep smiling, keep learning.